My name's Kevin Casey. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Historical Diving Society, and this ex-nuclear bunker, Napoleonic, Victorian gun battery, which is now being used as a diving museum, I am the museum director. You're here today to talk about its use as a nuclear bunker, which was in the early 1980s until the Cold War subsided, which was only a few years after that. So it had a very short life. But what was done to the building, as you'll see when you walk around, had quite an impact, i.e. they took all the doors out, they took all the windows out, sealed them all up, and just put a nuclear escape door and a nuclear main door. By that I mean it's a blast door. And they put air filters in. The building then, after it was shut down as a nuclear bunker, they just knocked a few bricks out in each of the blocked up entrances and windows, and just and put grills on, and the outside environment really controlled the inside environment of the building, which caused a lot of damage. And at the moment we're in the process of trying to rectify all that damage, which is quite difficult. The other impact on the building, it was built in 1861. In 1898, 1900, they put basically an on-top extension. They built 2 more gun emplacements on the top, but in doing so, they just built it on top of drains and other items in the original building, which is causing a lot of water ingress. But normally, in any other building, you'd be able to solve pretty quickly. On this one, it's not quite that difficult. So we've got to be, with the help of a conservation architect, Historic England, we're thinking off our feet to preserve multiple things, the history of the building, which includes being a nuclear bunker, and giving it a sustainable future as the diving museum. So this building, people can come in and view its history and understand its part in something which a lot of people don't realise the impact of the Cold War, unless you're an old person like me. I'm standing outside number 2 battery, which was part of the Stokes Bay lines completed in 1861. To my left is number 1 battery, or what's left of it. That's a scheduled monument, and only a small amount of it left. Number 2, which I'm seeing in the front of, is grade 2 star listed, and further down, the moat system that went down Stokes Bay, number 3 has been demolished, number 4 has been demolished, and there's about 2/3 of number 5 left. So this is the near complete remaining one. It originally had a moat all the way around it and a parade ground behind it. And now it's surviving, hopefully, as the diving museum. I'll take you inside. This front door was originally a gun port. In 1990, the council in its wisdom thought it would turn this building into a tourist attraction, and realised the cost and just shut it down. But there was always stairs here. The platform lift is part of the grant system we've got, and we're trying to make this, as you saw outside with the disabled ramp, we're trying to turn it into a very friendly disabled building. I will go to my right. Up to my right, you will get an indication of the nuclear bunker and what happened. The gun-port on my right here, that was turned into, re-established as a window, as I said, in 1990. And then the end wall here, this part of the building would have been open. When it was turned into the nuclear bunker, those windows and that door I mentioned to you, they would have been blocked up. This wall, or this entrance, where they brought the cannon and the guns in, this was blocked up. And here, it's a nuclear blast door, but this was listed as the escape door. As we progress through the building, there is a doorway that divides the building into two sections. And I would understand from the descriptions that that would have been in case one part of the building was compromised. That means they could seal it off, but there was an emergency or an entrance or escape door in each section of the building. So this was not the main entrance, but this was listed as an escape door. On the other side, there's a small ante-room, if you want to call it that. Because the earth's over it and we haven't been in a position yet to remove the earth on it, we're not sure how that room operated. But we keep this door shut because it's extremely mouldy in there. We don't want it to affect the rest of the building. So now I will walk and start to go through from this end of the building all the way to the end. Now, if you look down here, this was a single building. The entrance was where that wall that was blocked up. At the end, that tunnel was built for the nuclear bunker to join the whole building up. We'll see that in a moment. So we'll walk on down. And just for interest, you see these patch here, and there's one on the wall over there, on the next wall. This is where people that lived in here during its different, like World War I, World War II, a lot of them left their names. And one of our volunteers got as many of those names as he could and actually found some of the families, and the families have been here to come and see where their grandfathers or fathers were based in part of the war. But we'll move on. And this is where the third gun was, in this part of the building. Again, they blocked it up when it was a nuclear bunker. And then after the nuclear bunker in 1990, when they thought, oh, let's do something with the building, and they put the window in. So I'm glad they did these two, they put the two windows in the door in, because it's given us access to the building today. Now we'll move on as we go through the building. That was just a small room. That now we've got a power supply in there, we've got a distribution board in there for the electricity. But here, this is part of the nuclear bunker. This door is held open now, but it would have sealed against this. And I'd assume, just purely assume, but I think it's fairly obvious, that this would have been to seal the two parts of the building apart, in case it was compromised. This also, as you can see here, was the original end of the building. So to turn the nuclear bunker, they built this concrete tunnel. You can tell it's more modern than the rest of the building. It's reinforced concrete. It's got shuttering marks on it, whereas this is all brick. And if you walk into this tunnel, this building only had electricity. It had no water. And this, when they established this tunnel, they established a drain here, and this is the only drain in the building. So what you are looking at there is how they would have, if people had to live here during a nuclear explosion, that's the only way they'd have been able to get rid of any wastes, purely that way. So we'll move on now around the corner, and this is the end of the tunnel. And now you're coming back into the original building, which would have been bricked off here. This part of the building would have been where they stored the shells. And you can see there, it's an issuing hatch. And this is where they issued the shells to the men on the other side who were operating the shell lift and would move the shells up to the guns on a hydraulic shell lift. Through the room we're going to go through now, this was the shifting lobby. By talking about the shifting lobby, as you can see the hooks here, men would come in from the parade ground and they'd be wearing their uniform. Their uniform would have metal on it. That could cause sparks. you've got a big supply of gunpowder in the room we've just left. That could cause an explosion. So they would hang all their clothes there. They would take off these white cotton uniforms with no metal on. They would have to change their shoes and everything. So as they worked with the shells and gunpowder, they would not cause an explosion. So this is what's called the shifting lobby. They entered here through these doors, and through this was where here what we've got is the frame of the original door. But when it was turned into Borough Council's nuclear bunker, they built this little atrium, if you want to call it, and on there they built a blast door. That is not the blast door, it's outside, still on the hinges. But to be able to open this up to the public, the building control said we must put emergency escape door midway in the building. So that's what we've done here. I'll open up the door and give you and let you see the sides of this nuclear blast door. Right, we'll go outside now and see the nuclear blast door. I'm just going to put that there to so we don't lock ourselves out. I'll just put that there. This is a nuclear blast door which was closed on that doorway. Solid concrete, and when I mean solid, I'm not exaggerating. It naturally must have rebar inside it, reinforcing bar. You can see the thickness of it. I don't know if anybody has done calculations. That's got to be between 1 or 2 tons. And I've only seen one person, and he's about twice the size of me, that made any impact on moving it. It's, yeah, it's a beast. But that's kept in situ so people can see this was the main entrance to the building and the main exit of the building. And if the bomb had gone off, this would have been all sealed up, and hopefully people would have survived. So now, where this room we're in now is where there's the outlines on the floor here was where the shell lift was. The shell lift was hydraulic, and up there we've got, we call it, it's a pizza, not pizza, paella dish. There was a hole there, and the shells went through there up to the top gun emplacement, the east one. Now that is, the reason the paella dish is there, the hole is blocked, but water still seeps through. So just to stop anything dropping on the exhibits that will be displayed in here, that catches any excess that gets through and it goes outside. We have installed an air system here, a fan that's sucking external air in to keep the air moving in here so it doesn't rot. Now this part was used when it was the 1898 and 1990 building, and then we've got another room in here which was all part of the original building, and in there on the right would have been, you can't see it now, but a vertical shell lift. So this is all part of the nuclear bunker. We don't know exactly what each room was used for, but there would have been beds, kitchen facilities, and as you can see it would have been very basic, but I suppose if a nuclear bomb went off, you'd accept anything, however basic it was, as long as you survived. But now we're going to proceed down these stairs. So this is this is all part of the 1861 building. There's 2 reserve magazines down there, and we're going below ground level. We now have, this floor is temporary, this covering, but that's what we have under there now. And we've got underfloor heating here now because this part of the building was always much colder than the rest, except at the heart of winter when every part of the building, you know, the upper areas were as cold as the lower area. So what we had to do was, in summer when the top areas are much warmer and this stayed cold, we put underfloor heating in here, but all under the guidance of Historic England so we don't damage the original building. But we'll proceed round now. And here's 2 reserve magazines, and they were part of the original building. They're in fairly good condition. We are that far below ground level, and they're built up well, and they've got a good seal on them that we've never had a damp issue. Today, this is the best part of the building now. We've still got damp issues in other areas. We solve one leak and it finds another way into the building, but we're getting there. But I don't know if you want to have a look in here. It's just the same as the other. What we've done is, we've got, it's dirty at the moment, we've put perspex on here. We've not repaired those areas, and so people can see how the original building was built. We've got to tell multiple stories here. We've got to tell the life of the building, when it was a nuclear bunker, when it was first built, World War I, World War II, and when we were at war with France in the 1860s, 1850s. So it's a building with many stories. Right, we'll proceed down the building now. We'll go further down this corridor. In there, we've got the underfloor heating manifold. And we're going up the stairs, and you can see from the floor that with the heavy rain we've had recently, some water has managed to get in. So when it was made into the nuclear bunker, you can see they had to divide rooms up a little bit. You can see the old building. This is all 1980. They've helped make rooms out of the areas that, there was a big area here, so they made a room, and it differentiates. It's very easy because it's got a low ceiling there, high ceiling here, so that was a good way of separating the buildings. I don't know if there was ever a door in these places, but now we're coming towards the end of the building. And here, that is a door we just re-established. That was bricked up, and you can see here, when I talk about the windows being bricked up, everything was sealed in the building. There's one there, one there. And when they stopped using a nuclear bunker, all they did, we've installed that, but you can see the grate on the outside. They took a few bricks out, put the grate there, and that's how it's been since the mid-80s. Open to the outside environment, which has had a big impact on the building. So all of them were blocked, all entrances and windows blocked out, and there was a doorway there, taken out and blocked up. It was actually not right there. You could see it was here. The original doorway was there. They've made a little bit of an atrium or sort of entrance area, and we've taken the blocked up out and we put the door in, and now it's an emergency escape door, and now you can see the outside of the building. That casemate there is important because that is where the power supply to the nuclear bunker come in. There's 3 phases into there, and that then fed the power supply to the building if it was sealed up during a nuclear bomb. Also, in a moment you're going to see an air filter to clear the air. There had been one at the far end by the other the emergency escape door. There's still one in situ here, and that trunking goes right through that casemate to the outside. So I'll take you back inside. I'll bring you back inside. And show you what I was just talking about. Again, that doorway there was where they came in from the parade ground. That's the shifting lobby. That's where the shell lift would be to go up through the ceiling. This was the shifting lobby where they got out of their clothes, which I explained at the prison. And here's where the shells were stored. They're bought from the parade ground, stored here. Now, if you follow me around here, there is in situ, been there since the day it was installed. It's a nuclear air filter. It needs a bit of TLC, which we will do. as we clean the building up when all the capital works are finished. But it's good to have one in place and explain to people, young people today, in the last few generations, people didn't realise how close we were to war. If you're an old person like me, I remember it vividly, and it was a worrying time. And these things were installed all around the country in different, sizes. You've probably all looked at the large nuclear bunkers that were operating establishments that would have tried to keep the country going. This was just for a small local council, but it was to keep this area operational. So this is the end of the building. That, as I said, goes through that wall, through the casemate and to the exterior of that, to the outside environment. And there's your power supplies coming in. You can see a hole that is blocked on the other side. And that's your power supply that came in when it was turned into a nuclear bunker. So that's a tour of the building. And if I get asked any more questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, we have been very spoilt today by Kevin, who's just been the most incredible tour guide that you could worry us, or in your wonderful knowledge and your insights. It's such a treat for us as history lovers and to have these opportunities to visit. So it's well worth the drive and well worth meeting you. More importantly, thank you so much, mate. We'll put a link down below for the diving museum, which obviously will probably, by the time this video comes out, might actually probably be back in operation, we hope. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to sort of end on?
I had a little laugh to myself when you said, I know so much about the building. I've been involved in the building since, I was the person who approached the council to see if we could use it because it was closed up. And my wife sometimes thinks I'm more married to the building than her. It's taken over. You don't realise when you take on something like this how it takes over your life. It becomes. I've opened up as I say a lot. I've opened up Pandora's box, and I can't stop until I've finished what I have and can shut it again, if you know what I mean.
And I think that's just testament to meeting people like you and seeing
the whole team here.
Well, this is it. No, but the fact that you're just a small cog in a large wheel of history enthusiasts who just want to preserve, and this is obviously what this channel's about, as we sort of know. Yeah. Hopefully, we've done a fantastic job of documenting this. If not, blame Kevin, because obviously he was the one who sort of did. But thank you so much, mate. Real pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for watching. Feel free to check out all the links below, and really hope you enjoyed this video. Massive thanks to Sophie behind background for taking some wonderful photos as well, and we'll take care and we'll see you another time. Take care, mate. See you later, everybody. Bye.